And then Neeraj, did you want to share your screen?
If
And
if you could please.
sure, yes, I can pull that up for you. Neeraj, let's see. Okay, let's. And then let me just put it in the correct mode here. All right.
Um, See, I'm a second year student. My name is Neeraj Agrawal. Um, I wanted to do a book for my second year project. So I talked to Avi and we put together a scope for the book. So I'll talk about that. And then why a book, and how I went about doing the research and gathering the information, the credibility of the information, some of the endorsements that we got for it, and finally a surprise that came about at the end. Next slide. So the scope was, let's do a book on all the 45 remedies we learned in year one, include a case for each remedy, and Avi put together 45 cases from her experience. Then I repertorized all of the cases using Kent's repertory because that's what we used in year one. Put together rubrics, used the Excel sheet, scored the remedies, and then looked up materia medicas and chose the remedy for each case. So all of this information is in the book. Why I wanted to do a book? First of all, I wanted to have a dedication to my grandfather who inspired me about homeopathy. Secondly, although I learned a lot in year one, I wanted to get a much deeper understanding of all the remedies. So, writing about them would be a good way to really learn them. And during year one, I had found, attaching pictures to each remedy to be very helpful. So we decided that let's put some meaningful pictures that'll help learn and remember the remedies. Also, we looked up so many different books in year one, and I thought a nice reference guide would be good for anybody to have, student or anybody to have a quick reference to. And finally, a learning tool on how to go through a case, how to look it up in the repertory and find a remedy. So those were the reasons why I put together the book, mainly to learn myself, but has other benefits. To gather all the information, I relied a lot on the class notes of year one and all the homework assignments that I had done in year one. I also looked up books that we used. I looked up Kent's repertory, and the Excel sheet was very helpful. I couldn't have done it without the Excel sheet. So I sorted through all of this information, put it all together in an organized way. One remedy after another alphabetically, and once I had all of this information, now what? So go to the next. So now how do I make sure this information is credible? So I talked to Avi, and she read every word, she read every sentence of the whole write-up, and she gave feedback on how to improve. Here's what's missing, here's where you can improve. And I went through a few iterations, and we came up with something that looked good, we thought. So we sent it to Lou Klein, the co-founder of Flash, and he looked at it and he wrote an acknowledgement for it. But that wasn't enough. So I said, okay, let's see if we can contact some famous homeopaths and see what they have to say. So we sent it to Richard Pitt, and he was very impressed, and he wrote a foreword. Then with Avi's help, I sent it to Miranda Castro, I sent it to Dr. Farooq Master, and both of them wrote good words. Like Miranda said, I wish I had this book when I was a student. So I was amazed that these famous homeopaths would take the time to look at a second year student's work and critique it, write one-page endorsement for it. So that was very encouraging. So we included all of the endorsements as part of the book. Next slide. I started off thinking, oh, I'm just going to write a book for a year or two project, but it turned out to be zillions of hours. I totally underestimated the effort. And really hats off to other authors who write so many books. But there's a few things to learn from this. First of all, Lash, Avi will allow us to take on a challenge and then support it through. So I really encourage other students to take on a challenge that's more than what you think you can do. And the school will support it. I mean, Avi spent a lot of time helping with this. So if you have aspirations of doing more, being called the gunner or the super achiever, go for it. School will support it. The second thing is, when I felt I knew about a remedy and I go back and reread it, there's always something new I found that I didn't know. I said, really, this remedy can do this too? And then when I talked to Avi, she said, yeah, it's like finding nuggets. Every time you look through it, you will find something new or learn something new about it. And the other thing I learned was, humility is so important. Every time I thought, okay, now I know this remedy well, and then there'll be another curveball and go back to learning again. Oh, I didn't know that this could do this too. So keep an open mind. That makes us really good learners and thinkers. And unless you accept or be humble enough to realize that you learn, that there is something for you to learn, you're not going to learn it. Next slide. And finally, the surprise, once the book was all together, Avi said, this looks so good, I'm going to make it a required textbook for all future first-year students. So here's the book, the first proof print. And it's 110 pages. It has 45 remedies. It has all the endorsements. It has the acknowledgements. It's 2 pages per remedy, and pictures, remedy characteristics, a case, repertory, all of it. So thank you, Avi. The book is now in print, is going to be printed and going to be available either through Lash or through online retailers, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. That's happening now and should be ready in about 2 months. And Avi put in so much work. It's co-authored. It's co-authored with myself and Avi. That's my second-year project.
Well done, Neeraj. And I know how many hours that you put in, because I put in maybe half as much. I'm not sure if it was the same, but yeah, and I didn't realize that it was going to end up being such a wonderful, fabulous book. And I'll just say as well, because we have like a minute, when I sent the information onto Farooq and to Miranda Castro, I mean, Miranda got me on the phone and she spent an hour with me. I'm just so impressed. This is so great. I wish I had this when I was, in school. And she's like, and what is that graft? Why is it most homeopathic programs you see look slightly different? I'm like, no, you don't understand that two of our first year students, which was Neeraj and Aruba, back when they were first years, created this Excel spreadsheet to make it so much easier for students going forward. So, anyway, it was such a pleasure of mine as well. And then, of course, overachiever that Neeraj is, we're going to do a second year and a third year book as well in the next couple of years.
Wow.
Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, God.
I am blown away. I'm blown away.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I wish the second yearbook would be ready in like a month or two.
Sure.
Because we missed the first
Oh my
one.
gosh. Yes.
But I will purchase the first one.
Mhm.
You'll find it a true reflection of the first year at Lash. So
Beautiful.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
I would have loved to have had it before we took the final.
That is amazing. Oh yes, absolutely.
It'll be great for the next class coming up.
It will.
Yeah.
And even the students that are not first years anymore, this book is going to be so valuable to you anyway. It's just having a handbook and a guide right there beside you. So, yeah. Well done, Neeraj.
thank you.
Wow.
Congratulations to you, Neeraj.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job. Really.
And thanks for all the help, Avi. I couldn't have done it without your help.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He kept on bugging me like, oh yes, I got to get to these remedies. I've done 7. Oh, there's so many more to go. It was good though. And like he said, even me, been around for a few years, and you go read about lycopodium again and you're like, oh yeah, there's this and this. And I'd start adding in more things, and even in my own research. So it's great. It's great. That's great.